breathtaking, causing one to breathe rapidly or with difficulty, making one out of breath, a breathtaking pain in your side, exciting, thrilling, a breathtaking race, breathtaking, astonishing, awe-inspiring in quality so as to take one's breath away. The scene was one of breathtaking beauty. Good morning. To one and to all, I am so happy to be able to be with you here in this special space and on our Zoom land. But before we dip our toes too deeply into this new year of 2022, I'd like to look back on the year of 2021 and explore with you some of the events that have been breathtaking, that simply take my breath away. I'm sure you can add experiences of your own. The first ones I want to mention are two miracles that took place in 2021. First, there was little Ezra Foy Rodriguez. Born to the proud parents of Monica and Alex Rodriguez. And our newest Northwoodian, River Alexander Morford Reiner, born to the proud parents of Liz Morford and Alex Morford Reiner. I don't know about you, but a new baby always takes my breath away. Now, the next one might not be so breathtaking to you, but it has been for me. I'm one of those people who need help from their grandchildren to navigate the internet. They say I'm a bit tech challenged. Some of you know that, but if you don't, just ask Celeste or Sid Prickett. They'll tell you. I say this about myself, for I have been amazed, even with the snafus today. I have been so amazed in watching the evolution of Northwood's incredibly talented Zoom technicians. I remember the first time I saw our folk choir on Zoom from their individual homes, and yet there they were on the screen singing the same song. It took my breath away. I said to myself, how do they do that? And don't forget how successful our hybrid home auction, Home Sweet Home, turned out. It would never, ever have happened without those behind-the-scene geniuses. What a wonderful job they have done over these past 2 years holding our community together. I cannot possibly name them all, but if you agree with me, will you join me in applauding their achievements? But it's impossible to journey back through these past 2 years without acknowledging how difficult it has been on everyone, filled with uncertainty, fear, and death. It has been a year and 3 days since the attempted violent overthrow of our government. What words do you use for that kind of action? I could hardly believe my eyes, but there it was, in plain sight. A vicious mob breaking into the Capitol as elected officials were running for their lives. As I watched it, I couldn't help but say, this is America? It can't happen here. But it did. How ironic and naive on my part. January 6, 2021 took our breaths away. And yet, in some ways, the current assaults on our democracy were inevitable. When people in the United States were okay with exploiting the people in other countries, we empowered our own executioners. As Lenin once said, those capitalists will sell us the rope for their own hanging. we were higher on the food chain. But by turning our heads to our sweatshops and dirty covert wars, we put ourselves on the same menu. But before I leave that tragic event, I do want to say something else that took my breath away, and that was the brave police officers who fought against that mob, some giving their lives. And then we could add the Christian right, marching in lockstep with such fascist behavior. A good friend of mine, Jim, wrote these words. You know, when Christianity filtered into Europe, Augustine covered the nakedness of Jesus with Neoplatonic metaphysics. And later, Aquinas used the religion with the system of Aristotle. But soon Christianity would be tainted even further with their seeds of colonialism. Eventually, cultural Christianity would help give birth to a new God. This new God would replace Jesus with the Christ of colonial capitalism. There's no longer room for the humble Jesus in this new imperial Christianity. As the culture celebrated Christmas, the rich, dark night of the story was eventually replaced with garish lights. The silent night of the new birth was lost in the cacophony of commercial music. And most tragically, peace on earth, goodwill to all, was replaced with a narcissistic Christian nationalism. Simply breathtaking. And have we become so desensitized to the fact that over 840,000 of our U.S. neighbors have died from COVID-19? Some predict that might reach 1 million by the end of the first quarter of this new year. And worldwide, some 5.5 million have died. Such numbers still take my breath away. But I don't know what's more breathtaking. The death of so many, or the millions of U.S. citizens still refusing to get vaccinated for fear that the shots are simply a sinister plan of Big Brother to track their every whereabouts. Or that this COVID thing is all a hoax. Such breathtaking ignorance. Now to some other breathtaking facts. Listen carefully. The U.S. has the highest suicide rate of any wealthy nation. The U.S. spends more on health care than any other high-income country. Dr. David Blumenthal, president of Commonwealth Funds, says this. The facts demonstrate yet again that while the United States substantially outspends every other wealthy nation on health care, we don't get our money's worth. Americans are living shorter, unhealthier lives because our health care system is not what it could be. We can do better, and we should start assuring everyone can get the care they need when they need it. It takes my breath away. How many anti-abortionists so eagerly disregard the needs of the children and their working parents? Do you know that the United States ranks 30th out of 33 member nations of the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development in public spending on children and their families? It's breathtaking to know how we have devalued the children in this country. And the pain and the suffering of people of color is even greater. The Urban Institute has examined how structural racism continues to disproportionately segregate communities of color from access to opportunities and upward mobility, by making it more difficult for people of color to secure quality education, jobs, housing, health care, and equal treatment in our criminal justice system. And don't even get me started on our breathtaking, absurd, and cruel U.S. immigration policies or lack thereof. How over 3,900 children were physically separated from their parents at our border. And don't get me started on the breathtaking natural disasters that have swept across our land, savagely destroying so much and taking too many lives. Whew. Takes your breath away. Well, I can't stop there because I hear somebody saying, "Oh, come on, preacher, where's the good news in all this?" Well, I'm going to tell you where the good news is, if it can be found anywhere. You see, you and I are still breathing. And as long as we have breath, we have hope. As long as we have breath, we have a calling to fulfill. As long as we have breath, we are to work for justice, to give voice to the voiceless, to lift up the downtrodden, and to speak truth to power. Oh, you might not be able to march anymore, or run for a political office, or undo the injustices you've already caused. But what we can do is calm an angry soul with a kind word. What we can do is breathe some of our life into a desperate heart. What we can do is to never give up. Never give up. Never give up. So I challenge each of us here to live our lives in this new year, to live it together to the fullest, right up to the time each of us take our last breath. The past 2 years and the start of this new one has been difficult for all of us. So at this moment, I would like to do what my good friend Hallie did for all of us, and for together let us breathe a big breath in and out. You ready? Breathe in. Breathe in. I leave you with these wise words of a great philosopher. Breathe in. Breathe out. And move on.